Hey everyone, and we know that Mass Effect and Dragon Age Dreadwolf are the next premier games from BioWare, and today I'll be covering the future of both series and how this will impact BioWare as a studio.
Lockhart QT.
We've just had the recent news that BioWare have now passed development from Star Wars The Old Republic over to Broadsword Online, who will now be essentially carrying out development for the new MMORPG. We don't know what changes are going to be currently made, but again we'll have to wait and see. And it's no stranger that to Star Wars The Old Republic fans that this game was a serious money maker for BioWare, and recently in between games and releases and launches, it's even been a huge source of revenue for the overall studio's income. But with this news, we also learned that the development team from BioWare on Star Wars The Old Republic will be split up to work on Dragon Age Dreadwolf and the next Mass Effect game. Although Star Wars The Old Republic fans, this may come as sad news to you, as obviously you're having developers taken away from your game. However, for Mass Effect and Dragon Age fans, this will be coming as great news, as because both of those games have a ways off yet, and more developers will be placed onto both of those series. Let's be honest however, Mass Effect is a ways off. In my most recent video I even covered the fact that it could be releasing in 2026 earliest, and for Dragon Age Dreadwolf it's looking more and more every day like late 2024, with some insiders stating that the game is even targeting summer 2024, however this is unrealistic. We've all known that Dreadwolf has had a very rocky development cycle, and games nowadays are getting harder and harder to develop, costing more money, more manpower and more stress. And in my opinion, both of these games were announced way too early, as we're currently feeding off breadcrumbs of news until the big news drops for either game. For example, with Mass Effect, in terms of being a news channel, it's been an absolute nightmare. But what people don't seem to realise is that both of these titles, in terms of Mass Effect and Dreadwolf, are paramount and crucial for BioWare as a studio moving forward. After the rough launch of Mass Effect Andromeda and the cancelled live service of Anthem, BioWare are in a very risky place to be in financially and critically at the moment. I do believe that the launch of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition collection massively helped with restoring faith back in BioWare from a fan's point of view and from a critic's point of view, and the announcement of the next Mass Effect game and Dreadwolf definitely helped as well. Also, the Legendary Edition did brilliant review-wise, and if you haven't played it, it's three of the greatest games of all time in brilliant textures and quality, so why aren't you playing them? But BioWare must be under a lot of pressure right now. If both of these games fail, either commercially or financially, this will be a massive hit for the studio and EA, since they are no longer, they essentially don't have Star Wars The Old Republic to fall back on financially. And in my opinion, in terms of Mass Effect and Dreadwolf, are the most important games in the studio's history. I think that going forward, we can only have faith in BioWare. I really believe that the studio learnt lots of life lessons and general lessons from Andromeda and Anthem's launches and receptions, and that BioWare has been in really rough waters ever since EA forced them to use the Frostbite engine with Andromeda, Anthem and Dragon Age Inquisition. Fortunately though, I think they'll probably go back to Unreal Engine 5 or 4 for Mass Effect 4 or 5 or whatever the next game's being called, and with the core team having some essential talent that built and wrote the original script to the original trilogy, and they actually have some key figures from the original trilogy who have actually come back to BioWare. But in my opinion, the best case scenario is to see Dragon Age Dreadwolf having a great launch without any flaws, so that BioWare can catch a breath and take a break, and then go all out in making the Mass Effect sequel that we're all waiting and wanting. I think that if they can make the Mass Effect sequel that we're all waiting for, that would just be amazing. It's a bit of a pipe dream at the moment, which it really shouldn't be, but unfortunately that's where we are. And I'm not gonna lie, even if this means waiting another 4 to 5 years, I want BioWare to not stress, take their time and release the games when they're ready. Take Cyberpunk 2077 as an excellent example of this. If you rush a game out, it ruins both the game series and the developer's reputation forever. I think that both EA and BioWare realise that if these games aren't given the full support that they need, for example Andromeda just wasn't given the full support it needed, it will be a massive financial blow and it will just cause the games to come out in states that we just don't want to see. Plus, hear me out here, just sit there, close your eyes and imagine the next Mass Effect game or Dragon Age Dreadwolf running in Unreal Engine 5. If you guys haven't seen Unreal Engine 5, it just looks so good that it genuinely looks semi-realistic at times, with some models, textures and lighting being hard to tell apart from actual real-life images. Honestly, Unreal Engine 5 looks stunning. I think that with some old staff returning, new staff being pulled in from across the industry, such as the lead writer from the recent Guardians of the Galaxy game, which was really good in my opinion. For that year, I think it was either 2022 or 2021, I can't remember which year that game came out. It was actually in my top 5 games. I thought it was brilliant. I think that we also have some more developers being pulled in specifically for their skills with Unreal Engine 5. With all of these things combined, it could mean that the next game in the Mass Effect, essentially quadruple if it is Mass Effect 4, will be spectacular. We also can see BioWare returning to what we want to see as fans, with the return of obviously the OG N7 armor and Liara returning as a main character again. Sprinkle in some new stuff for good measure, such as new planets to explore, new weapons, new armor, new crewmates that are relatable and personal, new features, new combat, and BioWare have a perfect recipe here for the next Mass Effect to be amazing. And the same applies for Dragon Age. All they need to do is bring back a load of fan favourite characters, locations, and just create a new story with new elements and new characters in it that really speak to the series as a whole and just don't go off the board. I think, to be honest, I think minimum the game should launch in a launchable state. I can't believe I have to say that, but we are in 2023 where games unfortunately do come out in completely buggy, unplayable states. I think if BioWare can do this, they've got a great game on their hands, and I'm just really excited. I'll be with you guys every step of the way, from every reveal, news drop, etc. I just can't wait. I've fallen in love with the Mass Effect series, and I'm slowly falling in love with Dragon Age as well. But for me, Mass Effect is my bread and butter. I love the series, and I just want to see it do well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I know it's been a bit of a long one. If you could tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of the next Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and do you think BioWare will be able to pull it off? Thank you so much for watching, and for more Mass Effect, Dragon Age and BioWare news in general, stay subscribed to the channel. Bye everyone.